Good evening, Patriots, and welcome to the Q Lounge Live. Hi, I'm your host, Shady Groove, and this is the In the Matrix channel. It is just after 6 p.m. on the West Coast, 9 p.m. on the East Coast. It is Friday night, everybody. I hope you are having an amazing week out there. To all of you who are new to Q, thank you for joining us. Please come around. This is an amazing group out here. We have some great mods in the chat that will be sharing the links to the source of the sauce as we go along here, and they are an amazing bunch. And I'd like to say real quick, this is like our living room. We come together here for a circle. We come together to talk and chat and to get on the same page, because you guys know and I know that we are talking about some pretty terrible stuff out there. And everybody in the country is getting ready to learn a real big lesson. Guys, listen, what this president is doing is unprecedented. You've never seen anything like this. You've never seen any person stand up for you like this. It is incredible to watch. I know we've had a few more developments today since we had the Matrix Groove hour earlier, but I see everybody out there in the chat. I hope we're coming in 5-5 tonight. I am really glad to be here. It's been a little while since we've been able to do a Q Lounge since before Christmas, and I want to say at the top, very, very much so, Happy New Year to all of you. It is now officially 2020, and this This operation, the Q operation, is in full swing now. Now that we see what's going on in the last couple of days in Iraq with the general, and now it looks like just before we came on the air, there's some other stuff out there breaking with some other strikes that have been made. Your deep state is crawling all over the TVs telling you that this is war, war, war. I'm not so sure that this is exactly the war they wanted, but this may be this is a war. Remember, it's an information war. You're in charge here, guys. Anons are in charge. Anons have the information. Everything that we've been doing for the last 2+ years has been to prepare you, to get us ready, to get us here, to get us together, to get us on the same page. And now I think we've achieved that goal. We have received a Q post during the holidays that told us that we were ready. And I think that you have been seeing a lot of stuff. I hope that a lot of people have been asking you questions. If people are coming to you and asking you questions, then that is your best bet at red pilling another human being. There is no better way to red pill than if someone is asking you guys a question. So this is really incredible. Thanks so much, everybody, for joining us. I see Matrix is out there in chat. You guys, all the mods, please don't hesitate to ask them a question if you have something that's going on, or if you didn't catch a link that they dropped or something. But we're going to be trying to keep up here. We're going to be moving through a lot of stuff tonight. But I named this show, I Am a Constitutionalist. And to me, that means a lot. And I know that it's not a word that you hear very often. You hear all these other words. You hear, I'm a socialist. I'm a capitalist. You hear, I'm a libertarian. You hear, I'm a Republican. I'm a Democrat. But this is the truth. This is the truth. The life that you are living is no good, guys. And what do I mean by that? I mean that you are being poisoned at every single turn. Everything that you consume, everything that you use to put on your body, all the soaps, all of the perfume, everything that you can imagine out there is a chemical-based compound that you're putting on your body. Clorox, you name it, from the grocery store to the wheat to the sugar, all of it is poison for us, guys. It's vaccines. It's censorship. Poison. All that is poison. And it's violence against you. Seems weird to think about, but it is. It's violence against you. The violence created against you was due to corrupt, bureaucratic, unelected officials throughout your government for over 100 years. For over 100 years, we have lost our way here. For over 100 years, we have been told things that are not true. And for over 100 years, patriots, have been on the wall, much like a lot of you are right now today, screaming from the top of their lungs, hey, wake up. Hey, we got to do something about this. Hey, this doesn't make any sense. Hey, why aren't you listening? Why don't you pay attention? Why don't you care? Why don't we care? Are you a constitution? Are you a socialist? Are you a Marxist? Are you a capitalist? What is capitalism? What is socialism? What is Marxism? What is racism? What is sexism? All these isms, all these divisions, okay? So a little bit of what I want to go over on the top right now is to give a little bit of my perspective as being a constitutionalist. And I'm going to play a little bit from William Cooper here in a minute. And I made a video, we did a little live stream the other day where I played William Cooper playing a reading of the Constitution. And if you have not read the Constitution, I recommend you do so. I recommend you understand what the articles mean, and I recommend you understand why you should care about them and what it means to have an institution and what it means to have a document that we're guided by. Listen, your country is not the land. Your country is not the land, it's not states, it's your country is a document. Your country is a document called the Constitution, and it has served us amazingly for 240 years. And right now you have the left, quote unquote left, and I refer to left as the socialists in the party, not Democrats, the left, the extreme left, okay? Not any different than the extreme right. Extreme left, extreme right meet in the middle in the back at Crazy Town. Okay? We are required by our devotion to a constitution to abide by that constitution. What the Q movement has been teaching us is we need to understand that better. What the founders told us was that if we didn't know and understand our laws, we would fall to the corrupt cabal. The corrupt cabal was the reason that they were writing a constitution and shooting at people in red coats. Okay? That constitution represents your institution, and your institution is being systematically taken apart. In Virginia right now, there's some crazy stuff going on. They're building up. They're trying to divide you. They want you divided. So this is what I'd like to say. Democrats are not your enemy. Okay? And I'm seeing a lot of people on Twitter that are Q accounts, Q-related people, saying some nasty stuff about Democrats. Okay, I get it. You don't like Democrats. You call yourself a Republican and they're on the other side. Okay, we got the Steelers over here, we got the Packers over here. Oh, we got to go at each other. Is that divisive? Are you being inclusive whenever you're hating on other people on the internet who are challenging you on Twitter? People with the blue check marks that are swamp are different. Those are not Democrats. Those are socialists with an agenda. Remember, the people, we're talking to people out there. I'm not talking about the Russian bots that are coming after us, but I'm talking about the people that are claiming that they're Democrats, that believe in a blue wave. Yes, they are going to. They are going with you, with us. Regardless of what you think. They're your family, they're your friends, they're your aunts, they're your uncles, they're your brothers, they're your sisters, parents, all of these people. They don't understand. Our job as Q, as the president, in my opinion, has instructed, is to bridge that gap. We're supposed to be the people on the wall, pulling the people that are on the wrong side of the wall up and over here with us as we fight the enemy. The enemy surrounds us everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. You have no idea how deep and thick. You can look at the President of the United States and what he has to do to put swamp creatures all around him just to get anything done, or just to lure them and bait them into the next move or their next exposure. A Republican. Consider yourself a Republican? I don't. I'm not a Republican. I consider myself a conservative. I consider myself a constitutionalist. And we're going to understand a little bit about what does that word mean? What does the word conservative mean? That means something very, very simple. It means that you are capable of producing more than you spend. And you keep it. You conserve. What is conservative? What is conservation? Conservation. Notice that word has been eliminated from our dialogue. The conservation of the environment. Conservation of our institution. The Constitution is conservation. It is the sustainable model for you, for your friends, for your family, for 200 plus years of growth, and 100 of it being under what I would consider a pretty totalitarian regime of corporate ownership hidden from you. Your wealth was taken and your wealth has been hidden from you. So what I would like to say for everyone out there going into 2020 would be to make a resolution to be more understanding of people that do not agree with you. We have to be more understanding of people who do not agree with us. Period. That's the only way we're getting off of this wall. That's the only way we're going to win this battle. And I'm telling you that to me, Q has meant nothing more than togetherness. learning togetherness. I'm not talking about just togetherness with people inside the border of America. I'm talking about togetherness with the worldwide entity that is humanity in general, at large. Humanity. That's what matters. That's who we are. That's who we speak to. That's who we are trying to red pill, everyone, is humanity in general. The more eyes that get woken up, the more troops on the battlefield. Kind of simple, really. So I would like to suggest for you to perceive yourself as more of a constitutionalist than a Republican, okay? I want to play a minute or two of this. We're not going to play all this, but I want to play just a minute or two of this. This is William Cooper.
Because without a knowledge of the Constitution of the United States of America, you cannot listen to this show and understand what is being said. You can't understand where we're coming from or what it is that we're trying to do. In fact, without an understanding, knowledge of the Constitution of the United States of America, you really don't know anything about your own country. For you see, ladies and gentlemen, the United States of America is and resides within only one place, and that place is the Constitution of the United States of America and the Articles and Amendment thereof. There is no other United States of America. You can't find it by picking up a handful of dirt or crossing a border or talking to people or standing within a geographical area. All of the rights, freedoms, everything that we hold dear about this country, and I mean everything, literally, resides within that document. The United States of America will cease to exist and vanish from the face of the earth if that document is destroyed, if it is changed, if it is burned. If any of those things happen, this country likewise will be changed, burnt, destroyed, shredded. Most Americans have either forgotten that fact or they were never taught that fact to begin with. The Constitution of the United States of America and the Articles and Amendment thereof are the United States of America. There is no other United States of America. That is why things are happening today that people don't understand. Everywhere I go, throughout this great nation, people approach me and say, "Bill, I know something is wrong. I can feel it in my gut. I don't know what it is. Bill, please tell me what is wrong." The first question I always ask them is, do you own a copy of the Constitution of the United States of America? And I have to tell you, folks, 9 out of 10 replies are in the negative. In other words, no, they don't own one. On many instances, when I am attacked because of my political views, I always ask the question of the person who's doing the attacking, because they don't understand who they are or what I'm all about, because I only have one political viewpoint. That is constitutional. I love this country, and this country is the Constitution. And I have sworn to protect and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic. I did that when I went into the service of my country, both the United States Air Force and the Strategic Air Command, and in the United States Navy, where I served with the Office of Naval Intelligence. I always look at these people who don't seem to understand. They think that if you love the Constitution, that you're a right-wing extremist. In reality, folks, if you love the Constitution, you are an American. You're the only American. People who don't understand that don't even know what country they live in. And all you have to do to expose them is ask. Tell me, what does the third article of the Constitution of the United States of America say?
Now, this was a video done, or the first hour of the time broadcast ever broadcast by William Cooper. And that's just a minute or a couple minute clip there of the very beginning of it. The mods dropped the sauce or dropped the link to this video. Go watch it, because what he goes into there is he plays them reading you the Constitution. And we know that there's nothing else other than the Constitution. That's all there is. That's all we have. We don't have anything else. So all the people that are pointing to all this other stuff, oh, well, there's this, we got to fix this, and this needs to be done to this, and this needs to be done to that. No, it doesn't. It's a lie. It's all a lie, everyone. Right here is constitution.org. And on this website, you can find pretty much every relevant document related to your Constitution. The Federalist Papers, the writings of Adams, of Jefferson, of all of the people who were organizing what you today live in as a constitutional republic. Not a democracy, a constitutional republic based on conservatism, based on the idea that you do not spend what you do not have. Now, how does debt work? How does most everyone's life work now, currently in our modern society? Do we operate off of what we have, or are we all making payments towards what it is we don't own yet? Carrying notes around for materials, for goods, for services, for things we need to live. Borrowing to pay back later. That's a terrible, terrible, terrible blueprint. And that is a long way away from what your founding fathers wanted us to have. That is what President Trump, you, white hats, are attempting to restore, is our republic and our position in law, our position in court as a human being, not a citizen, a man of God, a flesh and blood man of God, not a citizen, not someone of an institution, not someone of a title, not someone of anything. Person, a real live person. Your fiction is what you currently have. Per the trust, your fiction, per your birth certificate, per your social security number, is a contract, per your marriage certificate. All contracts that you've signed giving away your constitutional rights for government-granted privileges. And those privileges come with restrictions. Like, for instance, driver's licenses. That's a privilege. You have sworn away your innate right to travel in America so that you can have the privilege to drive. It's a very good example. We all have the right to move around our country way before the internal combustion engine came along. This is an amazing resource for you and for anyone that you can turn on to start reading their Constitution. That's what we need. We need more people who are aware of the Constitution. Not even more people that are aware of Q. More people that are aware of Q, that's great. But more people that are aware of the Constitution and what it really says, that is of the utmost importance. How do you like your two-party system? Are you okay with it? Do you think that it works? Do you think that that's the way things should be? Following the publication of the Declaration of Independence in 1776 and before the successful resolution of the War of Independence in 1783, the American colonies decided it would be best to confederate, at least for the purpose of entering into strategic alliances with the European powers, perhaps waging war again with the mother country. This gave the U.S. the Articles of the Confederation in 1781, the first Constitution of the United States. But the Articles were soon deemed inadequate, and another constitutional convention was created in 1787, which resulted in the U.S. Constitution of 1789, but not without a fight. The Federalists were, of course, instrumental in the movement for the U.S. Constitution and for a stronger federal role. The so-called anti-federalists were concerned that the new federal government might overpower the states' sovereignties and abridge individual citizens' rights. Most states had a long and proud history of individual rights. The passage of the Bill of Rights as a permanent limit to the powers of the federal government answered much of that argument. Nonetheless, the struggle between a strong federal government and state sovereignties has been an important thread for the play of our two-party systems from the very beginning. From that beginning, in 1789, the United States didn't have a two-party system. It had George Washington, president without a party. Comparison for a moment. I feel like Donald Trump is a president without a party. Seems very comparable to me, considering the way he's acting. He's not acting party lines on anything. He's an American. He believes in the Constitution. He believes in the rule of law. He believes in that document, and he mimics that in his actions. During his 2 terms, a rivalry grew between John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, both Federalists, and Jefferson challenged Adams under the banner of the Democratic-Republican Party. Interesting that the first real party alone should contain the nominal seeds of the present two-party system. The word Democratic implies will of the people. The word Republican implies rule of law, protection from a potential tyranny of the majority. Now, do you want to have a will of the people, or do you want to have a rule of law? Don't you want both? So why the Democrats and Republicans oppose? Why is it 2 different views? Will of the people, rule of law. Why is that not the same thing? Mostly aristocratic and Virginian Democratic Republicans kept the presidency from 1800 to 1828. And the popular war hero Andrew Jackson became the first president from a new party, the Democrats, the true party of the people, with the exception of 1 term when the Whigs, a party of whose more clearly identified itself as the party of privilege than the Democratic Republicans, whom they replaced, won the presidency, and the Democrats held the White House in 1860. The Northern Abolitionist movement gave birth to the new party, 1856, the Republicans. Abraham Lincoln was their first successful candidate in 1860. The Northern anti-slavery, pro-business Republicans held the White House till 1912, with the exception of the Democrat Grover Cleveland and 2 non-consecutive terms. 1864 really marks the beginning of the two-party system of Democrats and Republicans. 1864. From the beginning of the Republicans have been Northern and pro-business, and the Democrats Southern and more populist. Woodrow Wilson was the only other Democrat besides Cleveland before the Great Depression. So for all intents and purposes, the Republicans held presidential power for 72 years, but for 16 Democratic years. Do you like a two-party system? I don't. I personally don't think that a two-party system is worth a hill of beans. I don't think it's worth anything. I think that the idea that you have to subscribe to a party and then go through and do exactly what they say and don't think for yourself, do what the party says, or you're ostracized. What is the difference between that and what's going on in our world, in our society right now? What is the difference? Can you tell me the difference? It's a division tactic. It's a way to keep you separated. It's a way to make you to look at the other guy and say, "Brr, he's on that other team." Brr. And then whenever the person challenges you, you get angry or you get upset. Is that speech? Is it? Or is it arguing? Is there a difference? The media will have you believe that arguing each other on TV, like 2 cats going at each other, is productive. In theory, debating is very productive. But arguing is not. Because when you're arguing, you're stuck. You're stuck where you are. You don't want to hear them. You don't want to hear what they say. You don't care. I'm right here. It's me. Thump. You can go pound sand. taking that attitude on social media isn't getting us anywhere. It really isn't. So more than anything, I'm going to explain to you that your world is engineered. Your world is engineered from long ago. Okay? First World War, Second World War, Third World War. Do you think that what President Trump is doing right now is starting World War III? Do you think that's going to be the end result of this? Because every deep state player on TV is saying that. Third World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agitor of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. Well, well, well. Who am I to think that that was written in 1800s whenever the Constitution was being subverted and the two-party system was being instituted among us for the purpose of enslaving you to a party thought form? I can't think that because I'm a Republican. I can't think that because I'm a Democrat. I can't think that because... Please work on being a constitutionalist. Work on identifying yourself as a constitutionalist because there's no argument there. There's no way to argue that point. I'm a constitutionalist. That is what I believe. If you think differently, why are you here? If you don't believe in the Constitution, what's the purpose? You want to take a knee during the national anthem? You have every right to. But what do you give up? What do you give up to not stand with everyone under a constitutional republic? You give up your freedom. That's what you're giving up. Freedom is the expense of being at each other's throats. Division. I believe that with the President of the United States, Donald Trump, standing there, taking an unbelievable amount of attacks, none of us can compare. None of us can even fathom what it is that he's doing to stop this, the Third World War. Right now, with what's been going on in the last couple of days with the elimination of the Iranian general, and then some other stuff that's going on just now, all deep state clowns are on the boob box, bouncing around and telling you that the president's going to start World War III. Because that's what they want. They want him to engage with them. They wanted him to engage with them in Syria. He didn't. He's taking a different approach. Whenever you take the approach of taking out relevant, specific higher-ups in militaries of broken regimes, remember, Iran is us. Iran is us. Because your ancestors and great-grandparents funded the overtaking of Iran through the deep state in the late 1800s to set up Iran as a boogeyman for the world and to create wars with the control of their oil. So that the American oil that was being produced wouldn't be the only source. Once they got that oil secured, then all of a sudden we have a central bank in America and we have World War I all wrapped in a nice little bow. Then we have the Roaring '20s where it was all working. The central bank, it was all working. The war was over. And then what'd they do? And they stole everything you had. And just like William Cooper said, if we don't pay attention, then it's kind of their right to take it, isn't it? Why wouldn't they? If you want to take you take a bar of gold and you walk down to the shopping mall and you set it down on the bench and you walk away from it, you think somebody is going to take it? Because they know you don't want it. Not any different with your Constitution. It's not any different with our country. It's the exact same, as a matter of fact. So big things are happening in 2020. And I want to bring good news to you. I am a skeptic. I'm skeptic as a skeptic can be. That's the reason I'm a conspiracy analyst, is because I'm a skeptic A hardcore skeptic. I'm a skeptic. I started to be a skeptic by what they were telling me. And I'm a skeptic now. I'm a skeptic with Donald Trump. Until he started to prove himself, I was a skeptic. Same with Q. Until it was proven, I was a skeptic. That is a productive means of society, but you have to get over that once you understand something, and then you have to unite under non-division. Here, Taylor Durden in the Zero Hedge a couple weeks ago printed a Q post. What happens when 90% of the media is controlled and owned by 6 corporations? What happens when those same corporations are operated and controlled by a political ideology? What happens when the news is no longer free from bias? What happens when the news is no longer reliable and independent? What happens when the news is no longer trustworthy? What happens when the news simply becomes an extension arm of the political party? Fact becomes fiction. Fiction becomes fact. When does news become propaganda? Identity creation. How does the average person who is under constant financial stress by design find time to research and discern fact versus fiction? The majority of people more prone to believe someone in power sitting behind a big brand name, news name. Do people, the human psyche, tend to follow the majority mainstream viewpoint in fear of being isolated and or shunned? Mainstream is used for a reason, dominate trend and opinion. If the majority of people believe X, then X must be validated true. Why do mainstream media heads within different organizations always use the same keywords and catchphrases? Coordinated? By who? Outside entity providing instructions? Do they count on the fact that people, the human psyche, are more prone to believing something if it's heard over and over again by different trusted sources? Do echo chamber tactics provide validation, credibility to the topic point being discussed? Threat to intellectual freedom? Will control over of those institutions, organizations allow for the mass control of the population's viewpoint regarding a desired topic? Read again, digest. Would control over and of these institutions and organizations allow for the mass control of a population's viewpoint regarding a desired topic? Would control over and of these institutions and organizations allow for the mass control of population's viewpoint regarding a desired topic? Logical thinking. Why, after the election of 2016, did the Dems and the media corps jumpstart a coordinated and planned divisive blitz intended to create falsehoods, illegitimacy of the election, character assassination of POTUS through sexism, racism, and every other ism pre-post-26 election? Why were violent mass terror organizations such as Antifa immediately created and funded? Why were these organizations tasked with the immediate intimidation and shutdown of any pro-POTUS rally and or event? Why were marches immediately organized to counter and silence pro-POTUS rallies and or events? Why were marches immediately organized which divided people into sex, gender, race, ism? When you control the levers of news dissemination, you control the narrative. Control of the narrative equals power. When you are blind, what do you see? They want you divided. Divided by religion. Divided by sex. Divided by political affiliation. Divided by class. When you are divided and angry and controlled, you target those different from you, not those responsible controllers. So are the Democrats that you know that are your people, are they different from you? Are they responsible for you? Are they responsible for your problems because that's their ideology? Answer is no, they're not. Divided, you are weak. Divided, you pose no threat to their control. When non-dogmatic information becomes free and transparent, it becomes a threat to those who attempt to control the narrative and or stable livestock kept sheep. When you are awake, you stand on the outside of the stable, group, think collective, and have free thought. Free thought is a philosophical viewpoint which holds that positions regarding truth should be formed on the basis of logic, reason, and empiricism, rather than authority, tradition, revelation, or dogma. This represents a clear and present danger to the constitutional republic of the United States of America. That is a Q post. And yes, it does pose that threat. Your country is in danger of being taken away from you, and your voices being directed at people in the opposing party is stopping you from achieving what we're trying to do here. It's completely preventing you from achieving that means, that goal. That's my message for you tonight. You are a constitutionalist. You believe in the truth. And we know that without truth and transparency in government, it fails. With truth and transparency in government, it would succeed. They're presenting to you the failures so that X amount of the population will not give a rat's behind about this document that I hold sacred, that I would die for. I would die for trying to fight to keep this Constitution. And most of the people I'll bet out there in the chat feel the exact same way I do. So make sure that whenever you perceive yourself as the martyr, that you're understanding the communications of which you are martyring yourself. We're all in this together, worldwide. We're constitutionalists. We're Americans. We need to start acting like it. In our debates, not arguments. If we can do that, I promise you that this 1%, this less than 1% infestation on planet Earth would be revealed, turned to dust, and eliminated in a matter of hours. Because light is the best disinfectant. Light is what it is we're coming here to share with all of our brothers and sisters who are supporting President Donald J. Trump for 2020. Don't be arrogant with people who are anti-Donald Trump. Give them their ability to be anti the president. Red pill differently. We're going to get into a little bit of that. I'm going to read you a little bit of some techniques here in a few minutes. First, I want to play your president today.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon. As president, my highest and most solemn duty is the defense of our nation and its citizens. Last night, at my direction, the United States military successfully executed a flawless precision strike that killed the #1 terrorist anywhere in the world, Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani was plotting imminent and sinister attacks on American diplomats and military personnel, but we caught him in the act and terminated him. Under my leadership, America's policy is unambiguous to terrorists who harm or intend to harm any American. We will find you. We will eliminate you. We will always protect our diplomats, service members, all Americans, and our allies. For years, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps and its ruthless Quds Force, under Soleimani's leadership, has targeted, injured, and murdered hundreds of American civilians and servicemen. The recent attacks on U.S. targets in Iraq, including rocket strikes that killed an American and injured 4 American servicemen very badly, as well as a violent assault on our embassy in Baghdad, were carried out at the direction of Soleimani. Soleimani made the death of innocent people his sick passion, contributing to terrorist plots as far away as New Delhi and London. Today we remember and honor the victims of Soleimani's many atrocities, and we take comfort in knowing that his reign of terror is over. Soleimani has been perpetrating acts of terror to destabilize the Middle East for the last 20 years. What the United States did yesterday should have been done long ago. A lot of lives would have been saved. Just recently, Soleimani led the brutal repression of protesters in Iran, where more than 1,000 innocent civilians were tortured and killed by their own government. We took action last night to stop a war. We did not take action to start a war. I have deep respect for the Iranian people They are a remarkable people with an incredible heritage and unlimited potential. We do not seek regime change. However, the Iranian regime's aggression in the region, including the use of proxy fighters to destabilize its neighbors, must end, and it must end now. The future belongs to the people of Iran, those who seek peaceful coexistence and cooperation, not the terrorist warlords who plunder their nation to finance bloodshed abroad. The United States has the best military by far anywhere in the world. We have the best intelligence in the world. If Americans anywhere are threatened, we have all of those targets already fully identified, and I am ready and prepared to take whatever action is necessary. And that in particular refers to Iran. Under my leadership, we have destroyed the ISIS territorial caliphate. And recently, American Special Operations Forces killed the terrorist leader known as al-Baghdadi. The world is a safer place without these monsters. America will always pursue the interests of good people, great souls, while seeking peace, harmony, and friendship with all of the nations of the world. Thank you. God bless you. God bless our great military, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Pretty strong words there, right? Very direct, very, very confident, very articulate, specifically telling you what it is that we are doing. Not leaking, not alternative narratives. This is what happened. As a matter of fact, I got Soleimani's phone call right before the airstrike. And I got this right before we came on the air, so I'm going to share this with you guys, but no one else has seen this.
Yo, Hillary, what the fuck is going on? They're chasing us.
I'm sorry.
The Americans are chasing us.
This is not the outcome we wanted or we worked so hard for. I know how disappointed you feel because I feel it too.
Fuck you, Hillary, we had a deal. Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Is that a missile? Is that a missile? I said a fucking missile. Fuck you.
It's like in a state of shock.
That is live for the Q Lounge audience tonight. No one else has seen that. There's a recap of what happened yesterday. Also, we have a different event, like I said, that just started to happen, or just was being reported about another set of strikes in Iraq. I saw a couple of news articles saying that it was other Iranian leaders, but I still at this point am not 100% sure exactly that. But your president is fighting the spy operation. This is a graphic for the spy operation. This is bringing in No Name. This is bringing in Fusion GPS, Perkins Coie, Brennan. Let me tell you something. Right here, you see on this graph, White House, Valerie Jardim, JB, and John Brennan. John Brennan, CIA John. Let me tell you something. This Soleimani guy and John Brennan were good friends. Soleimani was John Brennan's contact there, the general for the CIA in Iran, running operations. You think Mr. Brennan and Peter Strzok are freaking out after that happened yesterday? Did you look at your news media today and what they're doing? Look at how they are towing the line, saying that the president had no right to strike this guy. This person, we know, was flying in, landed in Iraq, and was picked up by militants who were in charge of the siege on the embassy 2 days prior. So it's kind of admitting guilt if you get into trucks with the militias who are being somehow let in by the Iraqi forces past the fences and gates into the green zone. John Brennan, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, we've exposed their connections to Iran. Not the people of Iran, the CIA deep state control of Iran that never went away. Iran is mentioned in the Q post like 70 some times. It's very important. Israel is last in the Q post. Why is that? Who is set up for a proxy war with Israel? Okay? The man is now gone. Soleimani is no longer a general in the deep state army. And I have a feeling that today we got rid of a couple other ones. We went over this earlier on the Matrix Groove Hour, but this was a preliminary, what looked to be a warning from Stephen Simon, I think his name. A warning. What if the former commander of Iran's Revolutionary Guard, Soleimani, visits Baghdad for the meeting and you know the address? What if? Maybe you shouldn't text it to people because we have all your phones, Mr. Reporter, Mockingbird, New York Times man. Did you get a text? Why was the news reporting that this was going to be the President Trump's Benghazi before they knew what was going on there? Coordinated? How did the militants get into the green zone? Look at a map. Go to Google Earth and look at what the green zone is and look how far it takes you inside the green zone before you can get to that embassy. Controlled op. Controlled op by these people who don't want to be exposed. Same swamp, different day. Anons know. That is the beauty of this whole operation, is that Anons know. You can't be fooled. They can't trick you. You want to see a little clip of what happened in Benghazi? Let's read this. Ultimately, Hillary sold weapons and coordinates the Chinook chopper carrying the 12 SEALs that killed bin Laden along with the rocket that killed him and the bin Laden family. She used Stevens to arrange the transfer of funds, which was $1.2 billion to the Clinton Foundation in Swiss accounts. In the deal was nuclear formation from classified files from the 70s. Did Stevens in the Pentagon getting a server to take him to Benghazi? There was a backup server. That was the one in her closet. He then allowed the bin Ladens to amass the people to raid the Stevens compound. Stevens had no idea what he brokered and had no idea that the server contained top secret nuclear files. The plan was going great until the SEALs and the CIA guys from the other compound went over to assist. She did not know they were going to assist and were ordered to stand down. The plan was to kill Stevens and this guy, and in the process allow the bin Laden family to have nuclear secrets to one day avenge their son. The plan went south when those guys from the other compound refused to stand down. They get the compound in time to rescue a few guys, and what else? They ended up with the server. Once word got back to the White House that Stevens' guys were rescued, Hillary ordered a complete stand down to the rescue mission and then told the commander of the invading force to attack the other compound, and by that time she wanted everyone dead and the enemy to have that server. During the attack on Compound 2, a tech guy got into the server. They knew something was very, very odd, and what did they find? Top secret nuclear files. They immediately break standard protocol, transfer the files to the top secret server in case they are overran. By this time, Hillary has already fabricated the story that a pastor in California made a YouTube video that caused a mob attack, and a total lie. She then, to fulfill her end of the deal, starts emailing the files to random staff members on accident, while allowing the bin Laden family to intercept the data while it was in motion. At this point, some of her staff planned to defect. It was these people who were ultimately leaking to the DNC emails and WikiLeaks. She was told the Benghazi server was destroyed, and she believed it. At least she hoped it was true. Little did she know that it was at that time, or our own intel community began to hack for personal emails as well as giving them to Julian Assange. The day before the election, they were going to drop the bomb to destroy her, but at the time they knew that Trump was going to win. Here's even more crazy information. The list of senators who knew about it. There was a total of $1.7 trillion given in grants to spread the wealth to try to sweep things under the rug. Things were getting very desperate for many. Money was granted to Obama by Middle East nations, then given back to our politicians through a series of Swiss entities. The Clintons have hundreds of these entities alone. Foreign aid. The money was granted by Obama to the Mideast nations and then given back to our politicians through a series of Swiss entities. John McCain is at the top of the list recipients. He and other Republicans just traced those who campaigned against Trump. It will lead to all who are guilty. And even crazier, Chris Stevens had a few more gifts that he did not know anything about. Gifts were 7 Crockett M388 nuclear mortars. Obama had the weapons declassified, transferred to the Syrians through a group of Benghazi. Ultimately, in September, one of these weapons was used and nearly killed 20 Russians troops in Syria. That's right, Americans' nukes killing Russian troops. Remember, Putin ordered 40 million Russian citizens to perform a nuclear evacuation. That was his response to send a message to Hillary, what he was preparing for if she got in. Now we know the remaining 6 Crockett's are in the hands of Iran. We also know that Obama had lifted the nuclear restrictions on Iran. We also know that Obama gave Iran $150 billion. We gave them $150 billion, $1.5 billion in cash. And now we have a different commander-in-chief who is having to fight the swamp to get rid of them. Here's a great graphic about the reach of our Soleimani newfound terrorist buried. And I'd like to mention as well, with the streams that we do, you can go back and pause these and take screenshots of these memes and put them in your computer and show them to people on Twitter and Facebook, wherever else you post them, Instagram. I don't know what you kids are doing out there today, but whatever you're doing, spread this information around. Here we have New Yorker article, September 23rd, 2013. Qasem Soleimani, and the Iranian operative who has been reshaping the Middle East, now is directing Assad's war in Syria. Not anymore. Not anymore. Swamp creatures, be gone. This was back to Amir, Hadi al-Amiri. We discussed him on the Matrix Groove Hour day before, or yesterday. It was yesterday we were discussing this. He was at the embassy siege, and he was also in the White House during 44's administration. Nothing to see here? Why can't the mainstream news connect this guy who was obviously taking pictures in Iraq with the insurgents, that he was part of the Obama administration? Even the conservative news is ignoring this. Why do they ignore it? Because the swamp runs deep. And it's not all. There's other stuff. WikiLeaks, chemical weapons watchdog, ordered deletion of all traces of findings that Syrian chemical attack may have been staged. They want you to see what they want you to see, and they don't want you to see the truth. And the truth is, we have a swamp problem. America has a swamp problem. We're way beyond our ability to control it and way beyond our ability to manage it. Lies, lies everywhere. Think about it. How deep does it go? This is amazing news from this week that almost, again, nobody really covers this. NFC chief slashing Obama's bloated staff to create efficient, tight-lipped White House operation. The NSC is the leakers among us. Almost every official that testified against their president was from the NSC. The NSC has been bloated to almost 500 employees. Why in the world does the National Security Commission need 500 people? That's because we need swamp. And swamp breeds swamp. Another swamp makes more jobs for more swamp. Less money for you and less stuff that gets done. Under President Obama, the NSC staff mushroomed to as many as 450 people, and Mr. O'Brien plans to cut the staff to fewer than 120. Let's take it down even further. My Secretary of State Pompeo the other day announced that he was going to go to Ukraine, and our little CIA guy, deep state in charge there, Bill Taylor, that testified at the Schiff hearings, quit when he heard that Pompeo was going to Ukraine. Why? This is a projection of what it is that, or this is a sample of what it is that is the problem. This guy is fixing it. I'm not saying he's doing everything perfect, but to me, he is doing things that I can see that I would do. Matrix and I have this discussion more than you know. Like, how could we make a different decision? If the man is making a decision that I would make in the situation, considering the limited facts that we have, supporting him is a no-brainer. Look at what he's doing. This is swamp removal. Each one of these people probably makes $200K a year minimum. Times 300? That's some New Year's resolution you can be proud of, be happy about. Another form of winning. This was December 10th. Trump shuts down the WTO appeals court, sending EU, China scrambling for Plan B. Axios certainly has the best into today's bombshell development. Internationalists have always dreamed of a court with jurisdiction over all the countries of the world. Since 1995, the WTO was created, allowing the world's countries to press claims against one another for the first time. But it won't survive the Trump presidency, as on Tuesday, his administration has effectively brought it to an end, neutering its ability to intervene in trade wars, having blocked all new appointments to its dispute resolution court. This is huge because this is like what they were trying to do to control America. They were trying to make us as Americans subject to this garbage. Bill Clinton in the mid-90s turned so much stuff over to the UN, I can't even go into it. It's so much land that he signed right over to the United Nations to come under these treaties. These treaties are null and void if you have a constitution. If you read your constitution, you don't need these treaties. We don't need a World Trade Organization. If the rest of the world wants to go get involved and have themselves a World Trade Organization, have at it. We don't need it. And if people pay attention to the example that we're setting and implement that example within the boundaries of their own country, they wouldn't need it either. This is cabal control. This is the control system. This is the epitome of the control system and what they were trying to set up to take away from us, to steal your wealth. The president says, I want to make America wealthy again. This is what he means. I want to do things that make sense again. This is what he means. So we've gone through a decent amount of the stuff that's current. And we've talked about being a constitutionalist, and we talked about what it means to understand your constitution. We've talked about what it means to be in and off of a political party, and we've talked about how we're going to get this stuff to your friends. So this I want to read. This was actually reposted by Beer at the Parade just a day or two ago, like yesterday. But this was posted for last year, and I think I read it on the lounge last year. But I think we have a bunch of new people here, and so I want to read this again, so you can get an understanding of what it is and how you can think and process this with other people. This is our only fighting chance. We don't have another shot at this. We need to do it right. And you need to quit ostracizing people because you don't like what they think. I don't care what they think. If they're for this president and they're for this agenda and they're for 2020 and they love America, don't care, please. Attempt to red pill, not ostracize and judge. It's too much. Here's how to use the same Socratic method Q used for us for red pilling your family. Friends, coworkers, and neighbors without ruining your relationships or being labeled as a conspiracy theorist. First and foremost, red pilling is a process, not an event. It requires patience and skill. Find some common ground where they've already questioned a mainstream media narrative. JFK, RFK, Oswald, John, Clintons, Clinton Foundation, Arkansas, BHO, birth certificates, 9/11, Building 7, no video of plane hitting Pentagon, missing $2.3 trillion, Halliburton, rigged primary elections, mainstream biases, Russian collusion, Fox News, CNN, etc. Once common ground is discovered, let them tell you everything they have learned about the topic. Even if you disagree, don't say anything. Listen. Once the topic is fully explored, compliment them on their knowledge and then ask if they think if it also ties to blank, another topic, event, lie you might want to make them curious about. If they agree, do not dump on them with information you've already learned. Ask them to dig into it and agree to speak about it in a week or so. During the second conversation, let them be the expert and teach you. Keep playing dumb. Be sure to praise them for their open-mindedness and encourage them to keep learning. Ask them to learn about another topic that relates to this one and agree to speak again in a predetermined time. Then let them teach you again, regardless about how much you already know about the topic. Ask a lot of questions. Allow them to sell themselves on new ideas. People never argue with their own ideas, but they subconsciously push back against other people's ideas. The human condition. Recognize it. Be aware of it. Always play dumb. Let them become the expert. Ask for their help solving a puzzle. Let them be the expert. For example, hey, Dad, you've been around a lot longer than I have. Can you remember any time in our history when the top dogs at the CIA and the FBI and DOJ had all been fired within the same year? It seems weird to me. Does Comey, McCabe, Strzok, Page, or Brendan Clapper and the group have anything in common? I'm lost here. Can you help me understand this mess? Let him dig and become the expert. Works every time. Understand that the deeper someone is dug into the opposing viewpoint, the farther they will snap into the other direction once they wake up. If someone shares an idea that you believe is wrong or ignorant, do not push back. Ask. Listen. Ask. Help me see what you are seeing. Or help me understand that better. The more someone tries to explain something that has no basis, the higher the likelihood they will eventually change their own mind, which you cannot do for or to them. Once someone shows a thirst for new knowledge, invite them to share their ideas with a third person while you are also present. The more they view themselves as a mentor teacher, the more this reinforces their new beliefs. When stuck, offer to switch sides. Debate the topic from their point of view and have them argue from your point of view. This often helps them talk themselves out of their original viewpoint, and it does work more than you think. When you have to make a statement instead of asking a question, open it with a softening statement. Do you think it may be possible that da-da-da-da? Or I'm not sure this is right, but I just read This provides possibilities for you and the other person. As often as possible, only discuss events that have already happened. When forced to discuss what you think might happen in the future, use softening statements first. See paragraph immediately above this one. Do not let the conversation turn into a red versus blue argument. Keep repeating that there's corruption on both sides of the aisle. Point to the huge number of Republican resignations, not running for re-election for both senators and members of Congress. Keep the discussion on good versus evil. Final point. Always remember that in every single conversation, you are the second best salesperson. Get them talking, keep them talking, and encourage their passion for digging. Show the other person that you've embraced the teachings of Jesus through your kindness, patience, and lack of judgment of their ideas. That is super. And that is exactly what the techniques are that I've been using for over 20 years to help get people to come to a conversation, a larger conversation with me personally. Democrats, Republicans, people that hate cannabis, people that don't understand anything about the vaccinations, people that don't understand anything about aluminum, people that don't understand anything about whatever toxic thing it is that we're consuming today, which is pretty much everything that's in our environment. This is how you get them. This is how you connect. If you want to make someone think what you think, just stop. Just stop now. Because you're not helping us. You're not. You're not helping us on Facebook. You're not helping us on Twitter. If you're just out there trying to get other people to think what you think, that doesn't work. Matrix has an amazing quote. The truth is never told, learned. You've got to go. You got to go find it. You got to be the one who wants to know. All of you out there in chat right now, you went to find it yourself. You didn't have somebody standing there with some sort of information trying to cram down your throat while you resisted. Think about this stuff. It's our country depends on it. Our country depends on it. Hook, line, and sinker. No joke. Moving back to some of the stuff going on in the last couple of weeks. Former CIA Eric Holder, spooks Eric Holder, just revealed the deep state is running scared. Writing an op-ed, this is very significant. We all remember that Holder was Obama's right-hand man. Eric Holder was Barack Obama's enforcer. The fact that Holder comes out this quickly after Inspector General I.G. Horowitz's report comes out and makes this veiled threat against Durham's reputation, the fact that Eric Holder came out and made this statement is a clear indication to me they are running scared. We have to understand it was Holder that Obama used to target the heads of corporations that spoke out against him. We know Holder was held in contempt. He spied on reporters, ran guns, drugs, and cartels. Oh, drugs, guns, cartels, deep state, Swiss bank accounts, swamp, swamp, swamp. No. They're convinced there are going to be indictments. Secondly, there is Barr's outrage over the Horowitz report and what it did not do. He made statements that there was spying and action by government officials that need be criminally looked at. Barr's outrage over this shows me that there is going to be indictments and that he is taking this seriously. Again, with Holder comes out, puts out this bombshell in the Washington Post, which is another indication that the indictments are coming. Brennan, former Obama administration CIA director, is going to be at the top of the list. I think that what we just did in Iraq, and I haven't studied what we did today, but what we did yesterday in Iraq and taking out Soleimani was a direct comm to Brennan. Direct comm. We're telling you, hey, bud, game's up. Time to pay the piper. What move are you going to make now that he's gone? How much time do you have to put in somebody else that has the connections that this guy had? What if we get him too? What if we got him today? I don't know exactly what happened, like I said, but it's just speculating a little bit there. On October 17, NSA Director Rogers disclosed FISA abuse days after the Page warrant. This article is important because this shows that immediately after the illegal warrants were obtained, we had Admiral Rogers. This information is not being hidden from us. This information is just not being told to you by the media. They don't care. They ignore it. They simply ignore it. They do not care. They're like walking around with their blinders on. They can't see that. Oh, what? We missed this? It's funny too, really, because the way that they drive their narrative, they use the subject that is of interest, right? And then they come at you with the narrative. And so almost like the way that they're presenting something, you can't see the truth because the lie that they're telling you is the opposite of the truth. So looking at it on its face, it looks normal. But the reality is it's a backwards, mirrored, organized, Hegelian dialectic attack. And it happens on the micro as well as the macro. Admiral Rogers was a hero. Plain and simple. There was another big article. Remember, we're talking about mob. We're talking about cabal. We're talking about cartel. We're talking about ancient cabal. Talking about Italy. Hundreds arrested in the biggest raids on Italian mafia since Cosa Nostra crackdown of the 1980s. We're going after the crime families? Does your president and Rudy Giuliani have any experience going after crime families? What's happening? Corruption is deep, and it's worldwide. And you're seeing stuff be done about it. In this article, it says the coordinated raids targeted the Fier Integrale Mafia from Calabria, the southern region that forms the toe of the Italian boot. Police said they had dismantled a sophisticated criminal web that linked Mafiosi with politicians, lawyers, accountants, and Freemasons. Secret societies. Mr. Brennan, secret societies. Mr. Strzok. Dismantling of the cabal is happening. This is a link that I want the mods to drop to you guys because I'm not going to go through. This is a big read here, but it's showing you, this will connect you to the Schiff family. Jacob Schiff, head of the New York investment firm Kuhn and Laub and Company, one of the principal backers of the Bolshevik Revolution and personally financed Trotsky's trip from New York to Russia, a major contributor to Wilson's presidential campaign, an advocate for the passage of the Federal Reserve. He was one of the creatures at Jekyll Island. Schiff. Okay? What's Schiff doing in the skiff? How far back does the Schiff go? How long have they been driving a narrative? The Schiff family shared a house with the Rothschilds family in Frankfurt in the later half of the 18th century. Rothschild's sons at Five Arrows went on to capture control of the banking markets in the major capitals of Europe, culminating in Nathan Rothschild's seizure of the control of the Bank of England in 1815. Later, Jacob Schiff moved to the U.S. and married into the Loeb family. Took control of Kuhn and Loeb, still one of the owning banks of the Federal Reserve. When you see Kuhn, Loeb and Company, read Schiff. He arranged loans of Rothschild money, especially D. Rockefeller, beginning in the 1860s. Think through the National City Bank of Cleveland. With that virtually limitless supply of capital, Rockefeller was able to create an oil monopoly in the U.S., making the Rockefeller family very powerful. This is a compelling document, article. History. All of the alternative / Alex Jones / Cernoviches / Granahans / you name them out there, don't look at any of this information. They could give a rat's about history. And the idea that we're looking back in history makes them mental. There's so much more at play than any of us even know. There's so much more than any of us recognize. The idea that Russia, the Bolshevik revolution, all the stuff that happened over there before the war was in repentance for the support that they actually gave us in the American Revolution. Did you know that? Did you know that the Russians, quote unquote, supported America trying to get away from the cabal in the 1700s? And they weren't too happy about it because it worked. Grudges go for generations, not just for lifetimes. This I'm not going to dig into, but I wanted to put it here so that my great and wonderful stellar mods out there can give you the information. Read this. Go through and read it. This gives you a great history about the Mystery Babylon series, the history and the dogma of the identity of Mystery Babylon, and that it hides among us. It hides right beside you. It didn't go anywhere. It's the same thing. We're going to be having a very large conversation soon about Israel, about what is going on there, about the anti-Semitism and Zionists and Ashkenazis and Khazarians and all of the real history about what is going on. And a lot of people are going to get upset about it. And they're going to attack us. They're going to attack us with force and vigor once we start to reveal a lot of this true information. Expect it. We do. I wanted to put that in there. That's just a little side note. I'd like for you guys to have that. Please dig into it. Here's another article in Infuriate an Anon moment. FISA judge Rosemary Colley's order destroys surveillance data collected on and before March 17, 2017. Date the hammer, CIA, FBI, what? Wait a minute. Senior U.S. District Judge Rosemary Colley, presiding judge of the U.S. Foreign Intelligence Court, April 26, 2017, ordered U.S. intelligence agencies to destroy evidence of illegal domestic surveillance collected on and before March 17, 2017. OMG. News article? Nope. Alternative news. Mainstream conservative Republicans talking about this? You see Ted Cruz talking about this? You see any swamp creature talking about this? No. Why? Because they know. This is a FISA court judge ordering the destruction of evidence against them. Did you ever sit back and wonder how we went 2 years and none of these FISA judges stood up and said, hey, why did you fool me? Why did you guys lie to me whenever you presented this? Why did you omit exculpatory information about General Flynn? Why did you do that? No, they didn't do that. They did the exact opposite. Like, we We got to get rid of this information. Destroy it. Do you think that points to corruption? To me, this is the biggest story of 2019. Look at this. Robert Mueller provided FBI computers for the Hammer and illegal domestic surveillance. You guys read about the Hammer in the Q Post. The illegal domestic surveillance system operated from the secret CIA facility by President Obama's intelligence officials, Brennan Clapper, to spy on Supreme Court justices and Donald Trump for blackmail and leverage, according to CIA, FBI, NSA contractor turned whistleblower Montgomery. This makes my blood boil. I want no FISA court. Let's go back to the Constitution.org and let's read on the Constitution page, and let's see where you can find hell or high water where there is a FISA court implemented per that document. Where there's a place where the state can gather evidence against you in front of a judge, and you have no recourse, no ability to stand there, no ability to protest, no ability to cross-examine, none. No, here you go. Since 1970 something, 11,000 warrants requested and 11,000 warrants given. 99.7% or some stupid stuff. Success rate on a FISA warrant. Oh, but they're not corrupt. John Roberts. I kind of think that the reason that Q put in that one post 5-3 was a future Supreme Court decision that's going to be decided without John Roberts, the Chief Justice who presides over the FISA court, and he's going to be the person, if there's an impeachment trial, to preside over the impeachment. Where did the dang impeachment go? Where's my impeachment? I don't see it. Still no articles submitted to the Senate. Lots of bluster. While your president takes out terrorists, they try to take down your president. And the FISA court right here, oh, she quit, by the way. Health reasons. Yeah. Anon Snow. There's so much corruption. Billboards popping up around Virginia amid Second Amendment uprising. Bloomberg gun confiscation starts in 2 weeks. Really? If you are a patriot and you're living in Virginia, I would suggest that you share with other people that this concerns you. You're getting ready to have a Democrat Congress, House, Governor, all blue. These are not Democrats that are your friends. These are deep state leftists who hate your country, they hate your Constitution, and they are going to break their stubborn necks trying to destroy it. That's what they're going to do. Literally, that's what they're going to do. It's up to you to stand up. It's up to you to save your own country. It's up to you. Nobody's going to do it for you. I am not going to be over exaggeratory on exactly what's going on there, but I am seeing some behind the scenes stuff saying that Virginia has an issue with National Guard that aren't going to participate. Other stuff saying that they've started the process of maybe bringing in National Guard troops from other states, New Jersey and Maryland specifically. Other articles are being passed around out there that they're training UN troops. I don't know if those are accurate articles. I could not verify that stuff. Everything is kind of going to be tough to verify. That's why we need you on the ground. Believe it or not, if you're in these areas and news is breaking and things are going on in your districts, tag us, DM us, communicate with us. We want to hear about it. We are attempting to create a platform and a channel where we can get this information out to people quickly. Let us know what's going on. What are they doing there? Are you going to your meetings, your community meetings, and being heard about this? If you would like a gun in your home to protect yourself with that has more than one round or a muzzleloader, I suggest you get loud. Soon. Virginia was the first organization of our republic. Here's the Gateway Pundit article detailing the documentary of how General Flynn was targeted and set up by the Obama White House for calling out Clinton and Obama-supported terrorist cabal. He found out what they were doing. They found out that he knew what they were doing. And they smeared this guy by inviting him to an event with Vladimir Putin, setting him down, making his seat right beside Vladimir Putin, taking pictures of him there with him, speaking to him, and then coupling that with a complete lie that he was having an affair with some sort of Russian spy to smear him and make him look like a traitor in public. Way before Donald Trump. And the president says we caught the swamp. He means we caught the swamp a long time ago. Caught the swamp. In this past week, the president has retweeted QAnon conspiracy hashtags to his 68 million followers. Yes, he did. I think it was a total of 21, ladies and gentlemen, 21 Q accounts, not necessarily QQ accounts, but accounts that had where we go, when we go hashtags, QAnon hashtags, Q hashtags, patriotic accounts that were saying stuff positive to the president. 21 of those accounts were retweeted by the commander-in-chief, and the Mockingbird lamestream morons had a proceeded meltdown of the utmost spectacular fiasco design there. I mean, they melted down on Twitter within minutes. Within minutes, CNN were putting out stuff from Brian Stelter talking about how, you're spreading David Duke propaganda. Would you stop with the David Duke? Nobody knows who David Duke is. Nobody cares who David Duke is. What we care about is our country. We care about the truth. And the truth is, President of the United States was retweeting Q accounts. That was the truth. That's what he did. What are you going to do now? Also, this little video, stunning video, shows Twitter removing tens of thousands of likes and comments. Okay, this is still up. I thought they actually took this down. But this person was able to record it, removing the likes. 10,000 chunk. Gone. How many times did they say they want him gone from Twitter? Over and over and over and over again. Censorship is violence in America. Foreign people who live in America who are not Americans don't understand this. Foreign people who were raised in South America or Canada or France don't understand why we want guns. They're already controlled. They have no way to fight their deep state right now. And if they can't fight theirs, they don't want you fighting yours. Then Twitter responded to CNN and admitted to removing pro-Trump Twitter accounts. And I think out of those 21, like 6 or 8 of them were taken down immediately. Carly's Twitter's been taken down like 4 or 5 times. She didn't say anything wrong. She supported the president and showed left hypocrisy. Plain and simple. Actually, the account that I showed you earlier where I read the thing about Hillary, that guy's account has been taken down since I got that ready to show to you. Censorship is violence. Here you go, everyone. Here's a complete list of the U.S. organizations funded by George Soros. Well, not a complete list, but this is a start. Funded by George Soros. This doesn't say funded by, like, friends of George Soros. No. This is him. All of these projects, starting in A's, because the alphabet's important. Da, 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 da. Dun, 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 dun. I need the Cappy music right now. Prove me wrong. Look at this. Constitution Project, Common Cause, Color of Change, Citizens for Responsibility and Ethics. All this stuff sounds just peachy, doesn't it? Like, you can read the names of this stuff and you can just tell by reading the names that it's swamp. I mean, you might as well just say swamp, 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 Swamp. It all starts with an S to me. We got to eject this festering mass from our society. And the only way we eject it is by calling it out and pointing to it and making them ashamed they're doing it. Right now, nobody's making the deep state ashamed of anything. They don't care. Q is making the deep state ashamed, and the president is doing it by making them look like morons because they think they have the news, and then that's not exactly what's happening. Malcolm X, grassroots movement. I'm at the M's. And we scrolling. We keep on scrolling. It's not going to end soon. Look what billions of dollars can really do. Who can show me any proof that Donald Trump was working with the Russians to interfere in American elections? No one. Countless investigations, Mueller report, special counsel, skiff, da-da-da-da-da. No one can actually prove anything. No one can bring any actual facts to the party. This is election interference. That's what this is. Election interference. Community organizing is code for election interference. Okay? It's code. Your community is already organized. Stop it. Makes me irate to even look at this stuff. Here is a great video, and I've actually spoken with her from Forbidden Knowledge, and I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to get her on the Q Lounge here sometime soon to discuss this more in depth. Tavistock is a problem. Let's listen to a minute or two of it here.
The global elite rely on a number of organizations to push their agenda. Many of us know about the work of the Council on Foreign Relations, the Trilateral Commission, the Bilderberg Group, and a handful of others. The Tavistock Institute for Human Relations is included and instrumental in this collection of subversive organizations. However, we rarely, if ever, hear about its role in mass brainwashing and shaping of public opinion. As I covered in a previous episode, the elite are active on several fronts to reduce world population and basically turn the planet into a lockdown, high-tech prison where a demoralized and reduced population is completely under the iron-fisted rule of a world government. This long-term agenda would not be possible without first conditioning and brainwashing populations into accepting and even celebrating their loss of freedom and servitude. The control agenda of the Tavistock Institute was first exposed in 1969 by author and researcher John Coleman. His monograph, The Tavistock Institute of Human Relations, Shaping the Moral, Cultural, Political, and Economic Decline of the United States of America.
Now look at that. Shaping the moral, spiritual, cultural, political, and economic decline of the United States of America. And they tell you right there that they started this institute in '69. That's like the hard building. This has been going on. This has been going on since before Lincoln. Long time, since before Jackson, probably. This European need to control all your institutions, to make you non-wealthy, to make you a non-threat. We're going to dig deeper into this in the future, but I would also like to recommend the old Q Lounge Lives to go back. These shows that I do are not dated per the date. They cover an extensive breadth of information going back a couple hundred years, over and over again. We've talked about Tavistock so much in the videos, talking about the fiction in government, the straw man. Talked about that. All this stuff is relevant to that. All of these systems prevent you from getting the real information. That is all there. If the easiest way to prevent you from getting any real information is to make you fight a Democrat. or to make a Democrat fight a Republican. That's the easiest way. Keep on fighting each other. Keep on thinking that your friend's perspective or your aunt's perspective doesn't matter. That is division on your part. You, in doing so, divide our nation. We got a real good look at this in the Q movement and the way that they infiltrated the Q movement and attempted to run narratives on people, including me, Matrix and I. Claiming things that were completely absurd. Taking Q memes and painting them up like they're referring to us. No different than Tavistock. No different than MI6 or Five Eyes. They all coordinate together. Every single person that has lent their voice to attack your president cooperates with this, whether they know it on its face or not. That's just the truth. Plain and simple. That's the truth. Great video there. I recommend everyone check it out. It's like 18 minutes. And like I said, I want to get her on here with us soon. Going back a little bit, a few years, December 13th of 2014, I wanted to grab this, and I'm running a little short on time here, but I wanted to show this to you. Read a couple of little quotes here about Gordon Duff and this article that he put out in December of 2014. Even more important, Duff, a noted international intel and security consultant, identified the root cause of the United States of America's dysfunctional involvement in Iraq, Syria, and the true cause of ISIS and Daesh. Gordon laid out the true cause of ISIS and Daesh is simple terms for the very first time anyone has ever done so publicly, and this disclosure from such a highly credentialed and credible intel professional is now sending shockwaves around the world. Well, I wasn't sending shockwaves around the world, but in the deep state time people's circles it was. Duff explained that what is going on in Iraq and Syria with ISIS is not terrorism, it is crime. That is, it is the works of an international crime cabal which has gotten control of the American Congress. Yes, this is a large organized crime problem that must be understood at its simple root cause. Duff identified this crime cabal as Israeli and pointed out that this is a worldwide crime on a scale never experienced before. Also identified American generals being involved in organizing this, along with Senator No Name. Also pointed out the Secretary of Defense Hagel, who has resigned, was one that prevented the American bombing of Syria in response to the false flag gas attack. It is easy to imagine why Duff's frank disclosure in the keynote address that the real problem on the ground in Iraq, Syria is crime, and the handiwork of an international Israeli crime cabal immediately changed the tone of the conference. It is now sending shockwaves around the world, and this is the first time ever that these issues have been clarified for the Syrian security services and military as well as intel. In the days and weeks to follow, it is expected that such historic disclosure become hard to intel. So this was in 2014. And the organization of the crime cabal, ancient cabal, cartel, mob, mafia, same. No difference. People who love America, people who want to destroy America. Two clear sides. If you're a person who's on the side that wants to destroy America, it's not someone you're going to red pill. If you're talking to someone who loves America, that thinks that they're a Democrat, they're not intentionally destroying America. They have decided what they think, and they haven't decided to look at any other information since. And so we talk about all of this stuff. Oh yeah, here's another. We want to talk about a deep state op? I'm not going to get into this. I'm not going to go off the rails on this, but this is relevant because it goes back to the early 1900s and the Depression and the way they were attempting to control us. War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells was a Freemason, was a cabal plant. This was intentional to create division. Here I have Q-Posts relevant to the farm. Q-Post 3521, 3514, 2379, 2319, 2004, 1948, 1829, 1184. Big error. Pelosi admits travel to North Korea past active immediately. They have tried to cover this. Why is this relevant? That's that one actually. Yeah, that one kind of isn't. This was one. What assets? Okay, now this was, remember the spy op graphic that I showed you earlier in the show? This was Q putting the spy op graphic back up for us and says, what assets or people were placed to spy in the POTUS campaign? Why did the news cycle drop this investigation? Think several. What if these placed are being investigated by BM? Plants need water. What if others placed connect to future? What if Nellie Orr previously worked on the farm? To start, public justification. To proceed, clean you. Here it is in this post. I think it was in the middle here somewhere. It was like a little category of this one. What was it? There it is. How do you audit a foreign aid big block transfer? Did Rohini, this is talking about Iran, keep unknown comms as insurance? What agency collects all forms of data? What agency did Ad Snowden work for originally? Did he train on the farm? When did Ad Snowden join NSA? Define contractor, define PRISM program. What year did Snowden release specific details of PRISM? Mid-2013? Impact, limit NSA's ability to utilize and collect information. On what? On limit, impact NSA's ability to work as the White Hats. He exposed them trying to collect data on the cabal. Fake news push for congressional restrictions. Open source for push to create counter defense. Purpose, blue skies for clown op. Where are the clowns grown? Where do you grow a clown? Everything stated has meaning. What is the significance of Nellie Orr being fluent in Russian? Why would you tell us to learn Russian? Is Russian a common language to learn? When might this language be studied? What position might this language be useful? The farm requires select skill sets. This is about Blasey Ford, the Kavanaugh accuser. Ford herself, coached by the clowns. Farm, pre-family invite with internship assignment from Stanford. Clown-assisted sexual assault sleepers who are targeted based on trusted family backgrounds, geopolitical location relative to families of power, influence, ability to harvest, control, etc. Fantasy or reality? Normal to self-induced in stages to exhibit past trauma level. Events with friendly therapy sessions notated as undefined. Past trauma exerted to identify mind with feelings with target insertion. Polygraph administered by former FBI agent. Who was the agent? Background? Mueller era? How many times was the test administered before results were satisfactory? Were questions modified to create positive results? Goal per past statistical success rates. Apply enough false, intensive, private, and public pressure for nominee to resign. Mission failed. Target provided with info to prep, counter, or Q. One or both of his parents. Now, this was a tweet that I cannot show you because our beautiful Karluska Putin was eliminated for this account. Her tweet was tagged. One or both of his parents fluent in Russian? Russian a common language to learn? Farms develop necessary unique skill sets in order to produce results. Stay awake. And I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, that tweet was a reference to Peter Strzok. And then here we have the most recent one. Farms produce 5-5. The Devin Nunes tweet that you've all seen. Corn ready for to be cut. What's a farm? What is a farm? Why would Q keep talking about a farm camp, Perry? Oh, wait, did I say that? Here's another article I'd like for you to check out. Spy games inside the simulated CIA town where young spies learn how to flip cars, gun down terrorists, and survive torture, and usurp your constitution on the daily. These people are teachers. People are janitors. These people work on computer systems. They are everywhere with different identities, consistently working for an end goal that you don't know what it is. Other than it's not constitutional and it is here to divide us. Was Daniel Pearl sacrificed? He was an agent. Playing make-believe at the farm, found herself living in a fictionalized country called the Republic of Victoria. Huh. That's what they call it. Where she and other trainees were first tour case officers assigned to the U.S. Embassy. We each have training names, aliases to protect our identities from one another, she writes. But other than that, everything feels real. There's an actual embassy building with an American flag fluttering out front, actual town square with wooden gazebo. During the stint at the farm, trainees most in the 20s and 30s attend fictional embassy parties alongside diplomats where they identify targets of interest and recruit them as assets. Does that sound anything like a Halper, a Page, a Manafort, a Mifsud? Swamp creatures abound. Mods should be dropping this article. If you feel compelled to, please go read more. Share with your friends. What's a farm, Q says? Anons know exactly what a farm is. Well, we have an announcement from the Chinese state media. Get ready. Gun ownership out of control in the U.S. Huh. Really? I don't think that they mean your ability to protect yourself is out of control. China has sent a lot of operatives here. There are a lot of people walking around in America that are Chinese nationals that are attempting to get elected, that are attempting to get in government, that are attempting to get blackmail on other people in smaller governments and smaller towns across the country. Some of it funded by Soros. Gun ownership in America is not out of control. There is never going to be, listen, there's never going to be a person there to protect you. You may get lucky. Something might happen, and there's police nearby or someone, a sheriff nearby. It's possible. More than likely, that's not going to happen. These people are there to clean up the mess and find out what happened and see who needs to be charged for whatever mayhem was instigated. They're not here to protect your person personally, even though they will if you happen to be near them. We saw in the church shooting the other day. Did you see that? Did you see what happened in the church shooting? A man walked in with a gun. I think he had like more than 30 rounds prepared. He shot 2 people. After the second shot, it looked like within if the guy had, I mean, there was like 5 or 6 people that drew down on him, and they got him before he, like literally at the moment he killed the second person, they got him. 1 shot. And we have Michael Bloomberg here. Bloomberg on Texas church shooting. Citizens should not have guns. Only cops should decide when to shoot. What kind of convoluted argument is that? What does that even mean? Here's a graphic talking about silent. And this is relevant to a recent Q post. Silent war continues. I think connected back to a lot of information from Bill Cooper, who was one of the first people to put up silent weapons for quiet wars. Another thing that we've covered here extensively on the Q Lounge. The time for you to stand up for your country has come. It is no longer time to be patient. It is no longer time to be quiet. It is time for the silent majority to become the proud, loud, constitutional majority in America. The time is now. The hour of the time, as Bill Cooper would say, is now. It is upon us. Our republic is being dismantled in front of us, and Q and the president are trying at every breath, at every waking moment, to share with you that they are trying to destroy what it is you hold dear, what it is you deem sacred. They want it destroyed. It's not just about destroying the children, which is what they do. It's about destroying our whole society so that mayhem ensues and order out of chaos can be implemented, and no one can know which way is up, and therefore no one can organize against them. And for people that can't understand Q, give them the benefit of the doubt that it's impossible to understand that some entity on the internet in some random place has dropped 4,000 drops that say, I don't know what. They deserve that benefit of the doubt. They don't know. Don't start with Q. Please. Start with patriotism. Start with those who you love and find why they love America. Embolden that. Make them cherish it. Make them think that maybe they should pay attention to their Constitution. Make them think that maybe they should pay attention to their country. Make them think that they matter, that their word matters, that their voice matters. Part of the reason they've been able to put us in this situation is because they taught you that your voice doesn't matter. They taught you your voice doesn't matter. The life that we're living is no good. It is time to course correct, Patriots. It is time to course correct, my beloved Anon friends. It is time for us to realize that this is the moment. This is your moment. And I, like many of you, am a patriot.
And the river opens for the righteous. The river opens for the righteous. The river opens for the righteous someday. I was walking with my brother. He said, brother, tell me what's on your mind. I said, what I see with my eyes ain't what I feel in my soul. And we can't turn our backs this time. 'Cause I am a patriot and I love my country. Because my country is all that I know. I wanna be with my family, people who understand me. 'Cause I got nowhere else to go. And the river.
Roadblock. What are they doing to me? They take me down? Are you guys still out there? What happened? There we go. Looks like my bandwidth is getting a little short. Sorry about that.
And the river opens for the.
I wanted to load the video out in front of me here. Sorry about this. I don't know why. Let's see if I can cut down the quality here. Make it work. This is very important.
Righteous. The river opens for the righteous. The river opens for the righteous someday. I was walking with my sister. She looked so fine. I said, tell me what's on your mind. She said, I wanna run like a lion, released from the cages. Released from the rages, burning in my heart tonight. 'Cause I am a patriot, and I love my country. Because my country is all that I know. I wanna be with my family, with people who understand me, 'cause I got nowhere else to go. And I ain't no communist, but I ain't no imperialist. And I ain't no socialist, but I ain't no capitalist. And I ain't no Democrat, but I ain't no Republican. I only know one party, that is freedom. 'Cause I am a patriot, and I love my country, because my country is all that I know. I wanna be with my family, people who understand me, 'cause I got nowhere else to go. And the river opens for the righteous. The river opens for the righteous. The river opens for the righteous someday.
I am a patriot, and I love my country. And these scoundrel, conniving, stealing, deceptive swamp creatures are not going to get my Constitution. They're not going to get it. They don't deserve it. They don't care about it. And they're coming for it. And the only thing that stands between it and them is the president and you. No globalist stands in front of that. No foreigner stands in between that. No other entity is going to stand up if you don't. Our time is now. I am a patriot, and I love my country. And I know that everyone out here that helps me in this chat, the mods, Matrix, you name them, all these people that have lent their voice to this movement, all these people that have stood up to be called crazy and a moron and that you're wrong and all of this stuff, all the attacks, every bit of it, all of it. What is it for? It's for you. It's for that document. It's for people like Bill Cooper who took the bullet because they were right. Took a bullet because they were right. That's what it means. It doesn't matter if you're an American who fell in World War II, a deep state calamity, or an American who fell in World War II, a deep state calamity, or an American who fell in the Vietnam War. Every one of those men were standing for that document. You get that? Not less one of them. Every ounce of blood that currently lays beneath the sand in the Middle East from American boys and girls. Their minds thought they were there for that document. Get that? How important do you think this is? The gravity of this cannot be understated. It can't be understated. It's you. It's you I care about. It's you I want to talk to. It's you that I want to empower, that I want to inspire. My need to inspire someone is functioning now. Whereas before I was attacked in my personal life, I was ostracized by people who don't want the information. Fine. But now I've found my country. Now I've found my family. And I don't want my family to ostracize and alienate their family members because their family members are confused and are Democrats. Even socialists. Some of them are Satanists. People are Marxists. We're people. And we're trying to figure this out. No one was born with a Chinese fortune cookie tab in your butt to tell you the instructions of this life that we're living. We're all trying to figure it out together. You have a leader who is leading you. Follow him. be brave, and be patient, and be kind. Because in the end, that's all that will pay off. None of the other stuff will pay off. It's air. It's all air. I want you to pick up your voice, and I want you to share your information in a way that helps people come to this conversation more, that helps people learn that they are a part of something unbelievable. 2020 is going to be a year like you cannot imagine, my friends. What is on the horizon is something so spectacular. We have exposed so much on this journey in just 2 short years. I am not impatient. I am a patriot, and I love my country. And I stand for her when I'm called to, and that's what I'm doing here. That's what Matrix and I do every day that we go on the air. We stand for our country, we stand for our president, and we stand for other people that are in the chat, that come to us on Twitter. We want real, true freedom, and there's no way to get it unless we fight for it. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, Anons. We went a little long tonight, but I had to get all of that in because there's a lot going on. And I'd like for you to please consider supporting our sponsors with Red Pill Living. In the comments below, we have some sponsors that are being very great to lend their products to our platform and to try to help them, products that are helpful to you, to help mitigate the descent of the body from being injected with poisons and toxins, chemicals that they deem safe. Take care of yourself, ladies and gentlemen. I love you more than you could ever know. Please feel free to comment and post in the comments below. If someone asks you a question, please help them out. If you can answer them, if not, maybe point them to one of us that maybe we can. But we want to spread the notion that there's a clear line between the truth and the lie. The lie is that they are the global elite. The truth is that you're the global elite, Anons. You are the people that stand for freedom. You're the people that stand for liberty. You're the people that stand for the Constitution. I am a constitutionalist. Much love to all the great moderators out there who have brought you some amazing sauce. I know I kept them busy tonight, and they are proud to do it. You have no idea how proud these people are to help in this fight. There is nothing but love. There is nothing but love. And if you can achieve that, you've conquered all, ladies and gentlemen. Find love and then share it, because there's nothing going to take a deep state down faster than that. Much, much love, my glorious friends and neighbors. And we'll see you next time on the Q Lounge Live. Good night.